Unlock your dream property with Meeks Realty Group, where Rich the Realtor makes real estate dreams a reality. Whether it's residential or commercial, we've got Charleston to Huntington covered. Your key to exceptional real estate experiences start here. Meeks Realty Group. Contact us at meeks.us.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. From the studios of WVRC Media, the country, the United States of America, the state, West Virginia, the city, Charleston. This is the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. And your host.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
And a good Tuesday morning to you. Welcome to the show. The A-Train. Anthony Harmon is our producer today. Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text 304-935-5008. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you by Thornhill Auto Group, including Thornhill Toyota, the Toyota National Sales Event going on now. Come check out the 2024 Camry, Corolla, the all-new Crown, or the new 2024 RAV4 Highlander gas. Qualified buyers on those can get 3.99% APR for up to 60 months. See Thornhill for all the details. Visit online. You can visit them in person or online. The website is thornhilltoyotawv.com, or in person on the Thornhill Motor Mile US 119 in Chapmanville. Toyota, let's go places. And we do the show from the Parmar Store Studio. Parmar, the Written Family Foundation, best price and fair price again, offering the Parmar Stores scholarships available to any high school senior or undergraduate student from West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Kentucky, or Virginia who happens to be enrolled in a college, university, trade school, or technical program. Applications details available at parmarstores.com, and the Communities tab. Application deadline is April 30th. If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon. What to do with the Municipal Auditorium? It's been discussed and discussed and discussed. We're going to discuss it some more. Last week, there was a report that came down to a special committee from Charleston City Council about the future of the Municipal Auditorium, and we're going to talk about that with Adam Grayson, who's from ZMM Architects, who actually compiled that report, and the Chief of Staff for Mayor Goodwin, Matt Sutton, will join us to talk about that. Plus, we got some other things I want to get to in the news. I do want to say, hey, we all survived the eclipse. So as far as I know, Dawn, I mean, you good after the eclipse?
It was great.
All right.
I loved it.
It was fantastic. Don, that voice, of course, is Don Miller from Read Aloud West Virginia, making a return appearance on the show. Don, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you for being. You've been making the rounds this morning. I think you were on with Steve and Jenny, right?
That's right.
On B100 a little well. Glad you made time for us as well. Now, first of all, I want to talk about the Read Aloud West Virginia program. Tell me about this program.
Sure. Well, you'll probably remember Read Aloud is a homegrown West Virginia organization. We exist to motivate kids to read for fun, because when children read for their own pleasure, they can't help but get better at reading. And reading is foundational to every other skill. It opens doors throughout school and life. And a lot of the benefit, a lot of the way to get better at it is actually the fun part, which is reading with people who you love.
And talk about your journey. I'm presuming you were a lifelong reader, or still are, right?
I am a lifelong reader. I was read to as a child. I picked up reading relatively easily in school. I have read to and worked with a lot of kids over the years for whom it did not come so easily. Mm-hmm. Then I went into writing and became a Read Aloud volunteer shortly after I moved to Charleston about 30 years ago, never dreaming I would still be with it or even on staff. It is the highlight of my week. I think it's something, and every situation is different, Don, but I think it's something that definitely helps if you grow up around it. I come from, my mother was an avid reader. My father was an avid reader. Of course, he was a very devout Christian, so the Bible was his number one book. But also he was a avid reader of newspapers. And I've always said, I don't think that you always, and I'm not an expert here, you are. I don't think you always have to read a great American novel or the great historical. But those are good too. But I think as long as you're reading something that's substantial, I think you're probably helping yourself out. That's exactly right. There's research that shows kids who grew up reading comic books have a great big vocabulary. Vocabulary and background knowledge is the number one driver of reading comprehension. And so the thing that you enjoy reading is what is good for you. I want to talk about technology.
and technology, seemingly parents put a device of some kind in their kid's hand from the time that they're coming out of the womb practically. Are kids reading as much as they used to?
That is an interesting question, because kids are communicating by text and on social media, and there's a lot of reading and writing that's different from what maybe we remember when we were kids. But as far... Right.
Instead of okay, we'll just...
Right.
Okay.
But as far as reading books, reading magazines, there's value to reading those types of things, and that has dropped for some children. Mm-hmm. Amazingly, we see enthusiasm for books when we distribute books to kids. I sometimes worry that adults are making too great an assumption about
Good
what
point.
kids enjoy and what they want. Because when we distribute books to kids on subjects they love, I can describe some things to you that are surprising even to us, and we are accustomed to having fun events with kids.
Well, the last time that I had you on the show, and I'll tell on myself a little bit here, I was talking about the devices that we put in a kid's hand, seemingly when they're born, and somebody texted the show as a parent and said, well, and they kind of took issue with what I said, and that's perfectly fine, but they said something to the effect of, well, when you see that device in my kid's hand, my kid is reading. Mm-hmm. They're not playing video games. They're actually reading. That's how they read. And again, I guess it's something I didn't think about.
Right. There's something to that. And what we know about whether it's better to read on the screen or read on books, it's too soon to know for sure. There's some research that suggests, especially for small children, paper is better. Mm-hmm. But once you get to be a secure reader and you are accomplished, we don't really know whether it matters.
Talking with Don Miller again from Read Aloud West Virginia. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you part by Pinnacle Consultants, the only accredited commercial lab in the state for asbestos and mold. Asbestos was banned in some building products, but not banned for all products in the U.S. Don't expose your family or workers to asbestos, mold, or lead paint. Get with Pinnacle Consultants. They offer real estate environmental assessments for hazardous materials and air quality. Visit pinnaclecorp.net, because what you don't know can hurt you. All right, let's talk about Readapalooza. What is Readapalooza?
Readapalooza is our one big annual public engagement and fundraising event. We've been doing it for more than 15 years. It's a nice after-work sort of happy hour. It's from 5:30 to 7:30 on Thursday, April 18, at the University of Charleston. And it's an opportunity for us to thank our sponsors. We're sponsored by Encova this year, United Bank, and Moses Auto Group, and a number of other sponsors. It's an opportunity to thank our volunteers, the 1,000-some volunteers around the state who go into schools every week and make those local chapters run. It's an opportunity to share with a group of Read Aloud supporters what we've learned, what we're doing, where we're going. It's just a nice after-work party for a couple hours on a Thursday evening. Doesn't interfere with the weekend.
Okay. All right. And who is this open to? Anybody that just wants to come in? Like you said, your volunteers and things of that nature?
Sure. Anybody can come. We sell tickets because it is a fundraiser.
Yeah.
So tickets are $45 before the event and $50 at the door. You can get those on our website, which is readaloudwv.org. You can give us a call, 304-345-5212 if you have any questions. And it's just a nice event. People look forward to it. People see old friends, connect with new people. You find out other people in town who you know. Oh, I didn't know you were involved with Read Aloud. Mm-hmm. It's just a nice event.
Talk about the need for volunteers for your organization. What kind of volunteer activities do you have?
Oh, thank you. So we're always looking for volunteers who want to go into a classroom each week and read to kids, because it is so good for them. That drive will start up more aggressively in the fall, obviously, when we start the new school year. We ask those volunteers to go to about a 1-hour orientation. You learn a lot about why we do what we do and how to be a good classroom guest and that sort of thing. And then we also are looking for volunteers who like to do other things, who might want to help with book distributions. We have chapters around the state, and they are always looking for people to help sort of set the priorities in those counties, arrange events. We give out 20,000 books to kids around the state. We've been doing 20,000 books a year since 2020.
Wow.
That is a lot of volunteers lifting and moving a lot of boxes and a lot of trunk full.
Right.
They're all transported by cars and pickup trucks. And so
when you talk about the need for volunteers, you're not necessarily just talking about people going into classrooms and reading. There are other ways to volunteer, because there's some people that have job responsibilities, and a whatever it is, 7:30 to 3 schedule may not work out for them, but there are other ways that they can get involved.
Absolutely correct. Good point. There are some people who love Read Aloud but are a little bashful and don't want to read in front of a class, and we have volunteers who are very dedicated and they do other things. So yes, we need all sorts. And
I've not done it here, but I have done it in other areas. When they had the Read to Me days in school and things of that nature. And you never know what you're going to get with the kids. And I think it's very important that they have a little bit, as you said, a little bit of training, a little bit of an orientation to what happens when you go into a classroom, and a second grade class may not be the same as a third grade class as far as maturity goes. And what do you do when you have that kid that may be a little disinterested or, maybe disrupted? That was me as a kid, by the way. I was the one asking stupid questions, and I still am every day.
Oh, those are the ones who find out interesting things.
Yeah. So there is an orientation involved. That's what I'm saying. They'll teach you the best way to do it. Give us the details on Readapalooza again, and give us where people can learn more.
Okay, so it's Thursday, April 18 at the University of Charleston. It's from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. You can learn more at our website, readaloudwv.org. Tickets are $45 ahead of time, $50 at the door. Oh, I forgot to mention the wine pool, which is a lot of fun. A couple years ago, a volunteer had this idea. You get a bunch of people to volunteer to donate bottles of wine worth $20 or more. And so there'll be about 50 bottles of wine, all worth that. And you buy a $20 chance, you pull a bottle of wine. Worst thing that happens is you take home a $20 bottle of wine, but you might get the $50 or the $75.
See, when you said wine pool, my mind went a totally different place.
Well,
you're not actually getting in the wine pool.
Well, that's what we said when she first said it. She said, "Are you saying pull or pool?" But it is a lot of fun.
It sounds like it,
and it supports our programs throughout the year.
All right, Don, I appreciate you being here. It's a fantastic program. Read Aloud West Virginia and the Readapalooza, which will be the 18th.
That's right.
At the University of Charleston. Hats off to those folks, Dr. Roth and the people at the University of Charleston, for doing a fantastic job up there. They got a great university that's always doing things in the community like this, and so I'll give a big shout out to Marty Roth and the folks up there at University of Charleston as well.
Well said.
Don Miller from Read Aloud West Virginia, appreciate you being here. Our phone calls to the Dave Allen Show at service of Biggly Piggly Wiggly. When shopping at your Biggly Piggly Wiggly, be sure to join their loyalty program. You can save big at the gas pumps and throughout the store with their electronic coupons and free gifts on Fridays just for stopping by. Farm to table, Biggly Piggly Wiggly, the best kept secret in Charleston. Texting services provided by Fruth Pharmacy, your hometown family pharmacy. Find the perfect over-the-counter hearing aid at Fruth with NuvoMed hearing aids, plus Fruth makes it easier to transfer your prescription services to them. I do want to say this, Don, I promise I'll let you go because we got to get you to another part of the building. 1 week ago today was when we suffered these storms here in the Mountain State, particularly here in the Charleston area, and we are still collecting photographs from those videos. What you can do is you can text your pics or videos to us. You just text the word news to 35651. Again, just text the word NEWS news 35651, and then you'll receive information as to where you can send those pictures and videos from Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. What to do at the Municipal Auditorium? We're going to talk about it when we come back right after this from the Parmar Store Studio on the voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Are you a physical therapy assistant and looking for an opportunity in orthopedics, wellness, and athletic care? If so, Generations Physical Therapy is offering flexible work hours and an upbeat atmosphere. With 7 convenient locations, Generations may have a job designed for you. Visit generationspt.com.
Buckle up. Adventure will never be the same on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Ready, set, go. Hey, it's Sydney inviting you to the new Thornhill Toyota for our amazing deals during the Toyota National Sales Event. Just imagine you in a new 2024 Toyota Camry, Corolla, or all-new Crown. Or step up with a Toyota SUV like a new 2024 RAV4 or Highlander Gas, where you can enjoy 3.99% financing for 60 months. So many possibilities. Ready, set, go to the new Thornhill Toyota. The Thornhill Motor Mile, US 119 in Chapmanville. Click or come by ThornhillToyotaWV.com and let's go places. Must qualify for all offers through Toyota Financial. Expires April 1st, 2024. Shop Thornhill to get yours.
Hi, I'm David McCormick, owner of Omega Commercial Interiors. We'd like to thank you, West Virginia, for making us the #1 office furniture and commercial interiors company in West Virginia. Remember, when you're looking for quality office furniture and space planning for healthcare, corporate offices, or even a private office, call us and buy local. Omega Commercial Interiors. We're a proud West Virginia company. Visit us online at OmegaCommercialInteriors.com in Morgantown and Charleston.
Thrive with 5 at the best community bank in the Kanawha Valley, Poca Valley Bank. Poca Valley Bank is now offering a certificate of deposit special, 10-month APY, annual percentage yield 5%. Take advantage of this great rate to grow your savings. For more information, stop by a Poca Valley Bank location today or call 844-782-2651. Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter. Certain terms and conditions apply. Rates based on minimum annual percentage yield. Subject to change without notice. Minimum deposit required of $10,000 of new money not currently on deposit with Poca Valley Bank to receive APY. Member FDIC.
$9:22, the A-Train. Anthony Harmon is our producer today. Bigley, Piggly, Wiggly, hotline 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text 304-935-5008. Well, it is campaign finance season. The reports are coming out that we're going to have on the show tomorrow. Stephen Allen Adams from Ogden Newspaper to talk about that. Also, Metro News is Brad McElhenney will weigh in on anything, all things Brad coming up on the show tomorrow. If you haven't already done it yet, make sure you download the all-new Metro News TV app. Enjoy your favorite Metro News programs, Talk Line, Sports Line, 3 Guys Before the Game, and more. The new Metro News TV app for Apple TV, iOS, Android, Roku, Amazon, and more. Metro News for your ears and for your eyes with the Metro News TV app. I want to welcome into the show Adam Crayson from ZMM Architects and the Chief of Staff for Mayor Amy Schuler. Good one, Matt Sutton. Matt, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good, Dave. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. You didn't get the memo. I was noticing in the green room, Adam and I have the same shoes on, the same middle-aged Skechers on.
That's
we have
right.
the same Skechers on. You don't have the Skechers on,
Well,
Matthew.
I could have had them on. As you know, I didn't get much sleep over the weekend with WrestleMania, so I'm just coming back into everything. So I probably missed an email while I was watching wrestling over the weekend. So I'll get it right next time.
Matt does have on some Hey Dudes. That's my other
All right.
shoes.
See, I'm not cool enough for Hey Dudes yet. I'm still rocking the sketch. Adam is with us as well. I'm Crayson, ZMM Architects. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, buddy?
Very good.
I promise I didn't bring you in here just to talk about shoes. I promise I didn't. All right. So I want to talk about the Municipal Auditorium. And before we get into the specifics and what we're going to do with it, I've already got questions lined up here. People have texted in. Give us the history, either one of you or both, of the Municipal Auditorium.
I'll let Adam handle that one.
Oh man, this is an easy one. When we started the assessment, one of the people that reached out to me was Dr. Billy Joe Payton, and he provided me with the National Register of Historic Places nomination form. And I'll tell you, most of those are kind of dry, but this one is just a really interesting read, and it gives you a lot about the history, including some of the challenges that the municipals faced since it was completed. But it was a public works project, public works administration project, completed around 1939, not sited where they originally planned to. They had originally looked at a whirly track and settled on this site, which was a nondescript site that had some drainage issues and such.
Let me throw this in here about the New Deal, because I saw online somebody referred to it as the New Deal Auditorium.
Yeah,
that's what somebody actually referred to it as that online.
Yeah, that's it's true. I mean, that is the case. It was funded. It was planned before the New Deal. They submitted it for funding twice, and it got funded the second time through. There was also a bond issue passed by the citizens of Charleston at the time, and then it was designed by project architect Alfonso Wysong, who was a state legislator who actually helped found the Board of Architects for the state of West Virginia.
All right.
So although people note the distinctive Art Deco facade, it's really, he referred to it as conservative modern. And once you look past that facade, it's a very nondescript building.
You and I were talking about that before we went on the air, and there's been comparisons made to the Keith Albee Theater in Huntington, a building that I'm very familiar with. But you said, as we were discussing this before the show, that the descriptions between, or the comparisons, if you will, between the Keith Albee Theater, which is a beautiful building in downtown Huntington, and the Municipal Auditorium, they pretty much end at the door. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. It's thanks for bringing that up. So I spoke to several people about this. We're actually assisting the Keith Albee now with some renovation work, and there's a significant difference. So the architect that designed the Keith Albee, his name was Thomas Lamb, and he designed hundreds of theaters all over the country. And the one that's left is the only atmospheric theater that he designed. He designed 8 of those. It's the only one that's left. So it is really more like a national landmark, whereas when they nominated the municipal to be on the historic register, it's a locally historic landmark. So there is a big difference. And I think when you look at the municipal auditorium, that's just one piece of what you need to consider when you have the discussion about, is it worth salvaging, right? You need to look at the life safety. You need to look at accessibility. You need to look at all of those issues to determine, and ultimately operationally, what are people expecting when they attend the theater now? What are performers expecting when they book venues? And all of those need to work into the ultimate decision about what happens to municipal.
Well, one of the texts that we had prior to the show was, is the municipal auditorium a registered historic landmark?
It
and
is,
if so, how does that factor into the demolition and rebuild? If we get to that, we're going to get to that a little bit later on. But how would that factor in?
So certainly it depends on the funds that would be used for the project. If local funds are used, it has minimal effect. The City of Charleston has a Historic Landmarks Commission. I actually sit on the Historic Landmarks Commission, and we do have a 90-day delay demolition ordinance locally. But if local funds are used, there's really no impact. If state or federal funds are used, there's more impact in consultation. But it wouldn't prevent the demolition of the facility if that's the decision that is made ultimately.
Matt Sutton is here, who's the Chief of Staff for the Good Administration. So, Matt, last Thursday, a committee meeting was held to review the assessment from ZMM about the municipal auditorium. That and Adam and his company presented to that committee this engineering report, followed by 2 options for the future. So where is the city on all this? Are you just kind of like taking a wait-and-see attitude on this? Because basically what happened was there were 2... There were 2 figures. I'll go ahead and get into that. The building could be fully renovated for an estimated $25.4 million, or a new one could be built for $25.2 million. Those are the 2 figures. Jarrett Lewis has got a very good in-depth story posted about it at wvmetronews.com. Where's the city on all this?
Well, no, we can't take a wait-and-see attitude because the building's too important to us. It's too much of a revenue generator. I mean, prior to, the mayor proposing the city council to hire the Oakview Group, OVG 360, to manage the Coliseum Convention Center and the Municipal Auditorium, we were doing just a handful of shows a year for a little bit of money. Now, we were doing over 35 shows, 40 shows, and then we were making more than $2 million in just ticket revenue. That doesn't count food and beverage revenue, which is the driver of most of those facilities. So we can't sit around and wait. The other reason we can't sit around and wait is because these buildings are being built all across the country. You're seeing a new one pop up in a city every other day because everybody's trying to get into this world of this 3,000 to 5,000 seat venue that you have to have in order to participate in this space and be able to attract the most top tier talent. So what we're doing is we're working with Adam, and we're working with not only the committee members but council members and members of the board to gather and provide as much information as possible. So I think the next meeting you see will be really a question and answer session between the committee members and Adam and the leadership over at the Coliseum Convention Center,
because they are the governing body of this. I mean, is that
so? Yes, the Coliseum Convention Center has a board of directors in and of itself, and it manages the operations of both buildings. So there's a little bit of a dual role here between City Council, and obviously City Council is the final purse strings for the city. So anything that's done will have to include will end with City Council. But the Coliseum Convention Center board is there. But we'll put people in a room that can answer questions about Adam's report, ZMM's report, and then also about the functionality of the building, how it's been used in the past, how it's been used before it was shut down, and then ultimately what we need in the city, in the city of Charleston. When you look around, we have the Culture Center, which can do about 500 people. We have the Clay Center, which can do about 1,800. We have the theater over at the Coliseum, which can do about 800 or 900. And we have the Coliseum, which can get anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 people. What we don't have currently is that 3,000 to 5,000 venue, which is one of the hottest attractions that we can have. So right now it's about information gathering and being able to get everybody the information they need to make a decision on this here really in the near future, because we can't be dormant that long.
And I will say this, there is something to be said, and you nailed it. Somebody who knows a little bit about the entertainment industry, there is something to be said for that sweet spot on that particular venue. And I know we had some shows that were scheduled that had to be postponed. I think it was the Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart was one of them. And when that was first announced, there was some chatter on social media. People saying, "Well, why is he not playing the big house, so to speak?" Well, I mean, Kevin Hart's people ask for that specific size building. There's a lot of comedians, there's a lot of those sorts of acts guys that don't want the bigger venues. They want the smaller, more intimate venues.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the comedy shows. I mean, I saw Dave Chappelle at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, the stadium. It was great because he's Dave Chappelle, but it was not very good because there was 10, 15,000 people there versus the 3,000 people that were in the Municipal Auditorium when I saw them there. We also have acts who will say, touring acts that will say, when we were looking at the Municipal, and one in particular, we said, "Oh, well, we're not going to be able to use the Municipal, but we can move you to the Coliseum." They said, No. Our goal is to sell out every show that we want to do this. That was the tour manager, and they couldn't do that at the Coliseum, so they did not want to do that. So there is that sweet spot that we're talking about, and one thing about it is, it's also about how we take care and how we showcase our city to people in our town. I mean, I can remember, even when you talk about the Kevin Hart, people are like, why is he not in the Coliseum? Why are we putting him in an old building that can't function, doesn't have any green room space? It's almost an embarrassment to our city. There's something to be said for that. Yeah. Mainly because we want these acts to come back, and we want their friends to come back. I mean, so this is a small community whether it's the comedy or the music world. It's small. People think it's big. It's small. These folks talk to each other. Right,
and that's the point I was going to make. The number one source of advertising is still word of mouth, and what happens is if not, I don't know that Kevin Hart's having these discussions, but I can guarantee that Kevin Hart's people are, and these management companies. There's only 5 to 10 out there that are booking everything, 5 to 10, of the top tier ones. And that's what they do. They pick up the phone, they send an email, they send a text to so-and-so, and they say, okay, I've got a chance for my musical act or my comedy act to play at this venue. What kind of venue was it? I mean, and they ask questions about, it's not just about the stage. They ask about how are the dressing rooms? What's the proximity to the airport? Things like that.
Yeah. I wanted to clarify one thing, Dave. Yeah. The two options are not a renovation and new construction. It's a renovation and an addition, because a lot of the spaces in the existing building that aren't accessible, the concessions, the large toilet facilities, it's short 16 toilet facilities for women, right? So you can't accommodate that within the existing shell. We looked at a reconfiguration study, and it would take so much space away from the auditorium that it would leave it as a non-functional venue. So all those spaces that are currently in the basement, and that building sits in the floodplain. The stage is actually 2.5 feet below the floodplain. So when we looked at the electrical issue, we had to move that new electrical service up above the floodplain. So all of those spaces would be provided in an addition outside of the floodplain. So it would be a renovation and a significant addition. And some people said, well, that doesn't leave a fair comparison, because you're talking about a 50,000 square foot new theater, and now you'd have 70,000 square feet, say, in this new building. But it's because the basement is basically non-usable space. And that basement right now is where the electrical service is, where there were some significant life safety issues, many other issues we discovered, and certainly they lead to the lack of accessibility because so many important functions are provided in that basement space.
All right, let me knock out a couple texts here, because I knew, as I said, we had questions kind of waiting on you guys. Text says, Dave, question for both the mayor's office and the engineering firm, and not questioning the integrity of their estimates on municipal auditorium, but isn't the rule of thumb to get multiple estimates on any big project, maybe get another quote or two before making irreversible decisions on the facility?
Well, that's a great point. First of all, we did get an independent estimate on this. We didn't do the estimate. We utilized an estimator named Winstrock, and before certainly any project would go forward, there would be multiple estimates. But we put together a team for this assessment. We used WDP and Associates to investigate the exterior envelope of the building. Carol Stevens handled the structural assessment. Winstrock handled the estimating. So this was a real team effort to develop these proposed solutions.
Yeah, and I think, and Adam said it, this is an estimate, this is not a bid. And so I think anytime, to the texter's point, whatever decisions in the future, we obviously would have to be bid, and we'd have to figure out the process to go through it. This is just to give us an idea of what would exist in the world.
Kind of where we
are. I think too, enough people in this community, in this state, have worked with ZMM to know that their numbers are pretty close. I mean, they end up being pretty close. Now the market shifts and stuff goes. The price of wood goes through the roof, or the price of concrete. That stuff changes. But at the same time, I mean, I think this is just to give us a start of just any idea of what it would look like.
And Adam, you mentioned the lack of it simply doesn't have enough bathroom space. You mentioned about being below the floodplain, the stage actually being below the floodplain. What are some of the other issues?
Yeah, the biggest issue when we started, we did an initial walkthrough. WDP was with us, and the first thing we observed was that some of the brick is actually falling off the building. Right, it's in a condition that it presented a safety hazard. The city addressed it immediately and blocked off an area where we feared there might be that damage. But a lot of the brick on the building is going to have to be replaced if it's salvaged, and a lot of it would have to be repointed. The second thing we noticed was the electrical service. When our electrical engineer went through to do his inspection, the electrical service was actually sitting in a puddle of water, and that's when he observed at the bottom of.
And I'm no electrician, but sitting in a puddle of water doesn't sound like it's the optimal thing.
Yeah, we had to get AEP to shut down service of the building so we could open the service and observe it. M&L Electric was very helpful. BBL Carlton came out and helped us develop a solution to this problem. But just replacing the electrical service, which AEP would require to restore power to that building, would be $750,000. We'd have to create a new electrical room 2.5 feet or 4.5 feet above the stage height to get it above the float zone, and provide a new electrical service. And really, that's just the beginning, right? There's no adequate electrical service. There's no adequate fire alarm service. They turn it off during performances. The city had a fire watch every time there was a large performance there. The mechanical equipment needs an entire replacement. The roof drainage is inadequate. It actually creates a structural concern because there's no emergency overflow drains on the roof that could be a hazard to the public. The fire curtain is failing. There's no automatic fire suppression system, which you wouldn't have in the. Sorry,
that's all right. All right.
You wouldn't have in the main.
Your book's a little too heavy. That's what the problem is.
That's right. You wouldn't have it in the place where the auditorium itself, but you would have it in the remainder of the building. In the area where they would have a space for the entertainers, which was in the basement. It's next to the 7 gas-fired air handling units, and there's no carbon monoxide detection. There's no adequate egress out of that space. There's no adequate egress out of the spaces that led to the dressing rooms. I mean, it was truly a safety concern, and all of those issues, it just becomes so much that they would all need to be addressed. It need to be a full renovation if the space is going to be reutilized.
The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you part by Morgan & Morgan. And if you're injured, hire Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Let me knock out a couple more texts. Text says, it would be a shame if the Municipal Auditorium was torn down and a glass box venue indistinguishable from any other glass box venue was constructed.
Well, I mean, I think that's part of everything that we're looking at right now is, we have 2 options in front of us, but, it's a matter of looking at it to see what works best with the city. I think, too, the other thing to keep in mind is take a look at what's being built around it and what the aesthetics are going to be. We have the new TC Energy site that's coming on, the old Caskey site, that is going to be very, I'm not an architect, so modern may be the word I use, but it's going to
Adam, you can jump in here.
Modern's correct.
Yeah, but it's going to have, the window look much similar to what the Coliseum does. When you look at what's being built in the new judicial annex, that's just going to be across the street, very similar look. When you look at the initial designs of the Sports Center going over where the Macy's is, very similar look. So we also have to think about what the aesthetics of downtown is going to be for the next 30 or 40 years and look to make sure that fits in as well. So I think that's an important thing to look at. I think none of us we agree we're not just going to put up a big box and then have it sit in the middle of our city, but it also has to fit into what is going to be around us with the amount of development over the next couple of years, keeping in mind about what all the aesthetics are going to look like in Charleston, especially in that. Basically, that's a 3-block area. It's going to look it would all look very similar at that point.
Yeah, anything that's designed, any new building, you have to consider context. So when we designed the improvements to the Coliseum and Convention Center, we wanted it to be authentic to the story of West Virginia. And, we developed it with those glass boxes that are connected by the metal panels that have the angles and the varying colors to reflect the split rock faces that you encounter as you drive through West Virginia, right? It is to reflect what this city is and the history of the city. I think any building, if it is replaced, you would do the same thing.
Yeah, that's a better answer than I gave, David. So yeah, I like that.
Well, that's why he's an architect. Text says the finances seem similar to renovate or to rebuild. What's the timeline to renovate versus rebuild?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I know it's not. I'll lean to Adam to that. But I'm not sure that I know the answer to that.
Yeah, so it is a great question, and obviously there's a lot more investigation that has to occur. If it's renovated, you're going to do a lot of additional investigation just to move forward with the plan. So the planning process would be longer. I think the actual construction process would likely be similar. It'll take a little longer, I think, to do the renovation. I don't think that's what drives the decision, though. I think all of those issues that I mentioned before, you can fix. But what do you have in the end? You have a theater that since its inception has had challenges. There are seats in that theater that they can only use when they have a comedy act, when you have one performer at the front of the stage, because you can't see the entire stage from the seats. You don't have good access, even if we build an addition, not good access to the concession areas, the changing rooms, these sort of things. So I think you need to look at it in the big picture. How do you address the accessibility issue if you're going to do that and really provide distributed accessibility throughout that theater? How do you address the life safety issues? But ultimately, how do you address it operationally, and what's going to make sense going forward in terms of what sort of theater does the city need to generate revenue and continue to be a great venue for the performers and the citizens, right?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the quintessential question in all of this: is what do we actually want the venue to be, and how do we want it to perform? When OVG and the team over at the Coliseum Convention Center were able to move Godsmack over into the Grand Hall and set up a new venue because the municipal was not available, the way they set up the concessions, the per cap on that day was twice as much as it ever was over at the Municipal Auditorium for any event, just simply because of the location of where people could get their food and beverage, and so they were in there spending more money, which is exactly what we want. So how you locate that? Do we have the ability to create an indoor-outdoor venue that would be able to do something similar to what the Brady in Cincinnati did? All those have to be taken into consideration. The functionality and the operations of the building are as important as the aesthetics, because this is a revenue-generating facility. It is, and it has to be, and will be moving forward. So we have to maximize that. I mean, it's not all about, just having something that we can bring in national performers. But the other part about it is this is also, and Adam can speak to this, and so can most everybody in this town, this is where people's kids perform their dance recitals. This is where graduations occurred. And this is where a local art community is able to have events. We want the best for that as well. We don't just want something put together. It's not just about
concerts and comedy, which is where my mind automatically goes. You're right. Guys, can I ask you to hang out with me here just 1 second? Because I got plenty more text to get to. I'm going to go ahead and take the break because I want to hold you over for just a little bit. If you can hang out with me here just 1 second. Absolutely. I got more to get to. Again, we're talking about the future of the Municipal Auditorium. Adam Crayson from ZMM Architects is here, and Matt Sutton, Chief of Staff for Mayor Goodwin, is here as well. Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you in part by Hudson's Pizza. Get a large 18-inch pepperoni pizza and large tossed salad, only $20.99 at your favorite Hudson's location. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses care for your family.
Buckle up. Adventure will never be the same on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Ready, set, go. Hey, it's Sydney inviting you to the new Thornhill Toyota for our amazing deals during the Toyota National Sales Event. Just imagine you in a new 2024 Toyota Camry, Corolla, or all-new Crown. Or step up with a Toyota SUV like a new 2024 RAV4 or Highlander Gas, where you can enjoy 3.99% financing for 60 months. So many possibilities. Ready, set, go to the new Thornhill Toyota. The Thornhill Motor Mile, US 119 in Chapmanville. Click or come by ThornhillToyotaWV.com and let's go places. Must qualify for all offers through Toyota Financial expires April 1st, 2024. Shop Thornhill to get yours.
We all know how expensive a post-high school education can be. Parmar Stores would like to help. Parmar Stores, the Ritten Family Foundation, Best Price and Fair Price are again sponsoring the Parmar Stores Scholarship. Scholarships are available to any high school senior or undergraduate student from Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky, Maryland, Virginia, or Pennsylvania enrolled in any college, university, trade school, or technical program. Applications are available at parmarstores.com under the Community tab. Deadline to enter April 30th. If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
Are you changing jobs or gearing up for retirement? Don't navigate your financial journey alone. At 4th Avenue Financial, we specialize in guiding individuals through life's transitions. From optimizing your retirement savings to managing your investments, we're here to provide expert advice every step of the way. Schedule your free consultation with John Burdett and take control of your financial future today. 4thavenuefinancial.com.
Securities offered through Jenny B. Cole Financial Incorporated. Member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Jenny B. Cole Advisors Incorporated. For years, West Virginia had the most unfair legal system in the nation. Our state was on the judicial hellhole list 13 times in a row. And even though our legislature has made major improvements in legal reform, Attorney General Patrick Morrisey risks all of our progress. Patrick Morrisey has teamed up with greedy personal injury lawyers to sue local job providers. These lawsuits hurt jobs, increase consumer costs, and even threaten broadband expansion. In one recent case, personal injury law firms were paid $151 million. Our state leaders should be protecting our families, not making lawyers rich. Call Attorney General Patrick Morrisey at 304-558-2021. Please encourage him to support local job providers, not sue them. Paid for by West Virginia Citizens Against Lawsuit Abuse. You can find out more about West Virginia Citizens Against Lawsuit Abuse by visiting our website at westvirginiacala.org. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
14 away from 10. The A-Train, Anthony Harmon, is our producer today. Bigley, Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text 304-935-5008. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. Brought to you in part by Live Healthy West Virginia, presented by WVU Medicine. Live Healthy tackles pressing health issues. It's a podcast offering insights into medical breakthroughs and preventative care, featuring WVU Medicine's expert physicians aimed at fostering healthier lifestyles in and beyond the state. It's a valuable resource for all. Discover the latest episodes on WVMetronews.com. Under the podcast menu, start your journey towards better health today. We're talking about the future of the Municipal Auditorium. Matt Sutton is here, who is the Chief of Staff for Mayor Amy Goodwin, and Adam Crayson from ZMM Architects. Text says, where's the city treasurer on the financial issues facing the Municipal Auditorium in the city?
The city treasurer is kind of balances the books. He doesn't handle the daily operations of the city finances. That's the finance director, Andy Wood, and the mayor's office and the city council ultimately. So, I don't think the treasurer has a role in this.
Text says, any chance you can keep the facade and build new?
It's a great question. It's something, a few of the local historical experts that I've talked to have said that really the only historically significant portion of the building is a facade. So could it be salvaged and replace the remainder of the theater? I think that's an option that needs to be considered. It would certainly add cost because the demolition becomes more expensive as you try to salvage that and incorporate it, but certainly an option to consider.
Text says, downtown sounds like it's going to be a glass box building city. Sad. I think a variety of architectural styles gives a city more character.
That's true, and I think we have a variety of architectural styles downtown, even if you add more glass window buildings. I don't know what a glass box building is, but if you add more of those, but we still have our courthouse, we still have the county courthouse. I mean, we've got a lot of old, very historic,
and the residences, like when you get on the East End in some of the areas too.
We still have that, but I think that you can have a good mix, but just keeping something for keeping it purposes. Doesn't make much sense. It's got to be able to utilize it.
And what we have right now cannot be utilized, is what you're saying, right?
No way.
Correct. Yeah. So a few things there. One, it's not going to be a glass box, right? I mean, theaters don't have windows. So, I mean, there may be some glass on the building, but it could be any architectural style that seems appropriate as the project moves forward. So that's open. But no, it can't be utilized in the shape it's in. People will not reconnect power to the building right now. It's in that bad a shape. The renovations are so significant. There's requirements in both the state fire code and the building code that once you reach a certain level of renovation that you have to fully renovate a space. And we think this would certainly trigger those requirements. And then you get into the requirements related to accessibility. And right now, it's one issue that doesn't seem to come up much when there's a discussion about the building, but that building is not accessible. There's 2 accessible bathrooms on the main level for 3,500 people. All the concessions, the significant bathrooms are in the basement that a lot of people with accessibility issues don't have access to. There is no accessible seating. Now, they say that some is provided, but the reality is that as soon as you cross the threshold into the auditorium, the aisles start to slope down. And the accessible seating that's provided is on a cross slope in the back of the auditorium. So you would have to navigate a wheelchair down a slope and then up a slope simultaneously just to reach what's called the accessible seating. It's not accessible. It's too steeply raked, sloped for somebody to adequately get a wheelchair down to the front row if you provided some seating there. That's a real challenge that if it is a renovation addition or if it is a new construction that needs to be addressed to give people better access.
And what I'm kind of gathering here, and I don't want to put words into texters' fingers, for lack of a better term. But I think what I don't think anybody is against having a newer facility. Obviously, it's needed for Charleston. Charleston is truly becoming an entertainment mecca with all these different concerts that we're bringing in, not just concerts, but the other activities. But I think there is a certain probably pause from certain people that just they don't want to see the old municipal auditorium, or at least what is in their head. And I'm one of these people that had no idea of it all. I go to shows at municipal auditorium, but I had no idea that all these issues were taking place. They simply they don't want to see it completely go away as it is, and they want it to be able. They want to drive down and they want to be able to look at that building, the facade and everything. Yeah. But sometimes it's just not possible.
I think there's ways that you can document and capture that history, regardless of whether you salvage it whether you save the facade or whether it's a total rebuild. I think a lot of the memories that are attached to it are memories of performances, of being there for graduations or being at your children's dance recitals, which I've been to many of those. So, I think we all attach those memories to it. But I think a new facility is going to allow people to continue to make those memories, and we're going to capture the history if this ends up being a new facility. But I also want to point out that a large part of the history of this building, from nearly 10 years after it was completed, were challenges with this building. When you read through that National Register form, there's questions about the mechanical system, talk about how they had
and these questions weren't from 5 years ago.
These weren't from 5 years ago. It's performers having to wear coats for performances.
And what years are we talking about there?
We're talking, they had a group put together in the 60s that was looking at this. Henry Eldon, who was a local architect, a noted local architect, actually tried to get the city to sell the facility to the Shriners to use as a temple. It was referred to as an ugly duckling, a white elephant. They had to commit substantial renovation funds. The acoustics have been a challenge in that facility, and there's a lot of question about whether those issues have been addressed. So, and then when the Clay Center was built, there was a whole series done in the Gazette about the need for this. So part of the history of the municipal, interestingly enough, is the exact conversation we're having now. What should it be? What's needed? Where do we go from here?
Well, I think the other thing, too, that Adam brings up to think about, for folks to think about is, is it possible to keep sort of the outer shell of the building? I mean, we're going to look at that, and maybe, but no, the inside is going to be completely different if we renovate it, of anything that people remember when they went to see the dance shows, because we can't make it functional otherwise. Mm-hmm. So it is a sense of that we are going to create a whole new auditorium, regardless of whether or not the outside looks similar or not. And then the addition is going to be added to it as well. So something new is going to be added to that.
One way or the other.
Yeah, so we're going to have some new to it. But I think Adam says it right. Like, we've got to create something that's going to last into the future. We've got to create something that's going to bring people in. And we have the ability, regardless of what the outcome is, to honor the history of that building. We have the doors that we could keep and reuse. We have the stage that we could repurpose. We have the stuff from inside. We've got some seats that don't have springs sticking out of them that might be able to be reused. There are ability to be able to honor the past while moving into the future as well.
All right. Guys, we got to leave it there. Give me about 30 seconds about where we are right now, 30 to 45 seconds. What happens next?
So right now, I think that we're in the information gathering stage. What's happening next is then over the next couple of weeks, the select committee will meet again to be able to ask their questions about ZMM and then OVG as well, who is the operator and manager of the facility, as well as any financial information they want from the Coliseum and Convention Center board. So the idea next would be to go in and talk more about the functionality of the building, the use of the building, and what we could need the building to be in the future before the committee looks to make a recommendation and have meetings with both the Coliseum and Convention Center board and City Council about what we need to do next, remembering that we need to move because this is a very big revenue generator for the city. One way or the other, we got to make a decision.
And how much input would the city have? Or would the public have? I mean, could we have public meetings? Could we do?
Yeah, I think that once we get into that process about what we're going to look for moving forward, there's going to be public input. And also, you remember, anything that happens with this, anything and everything that happens with the municipal auditorium is going to go through City Council. So you've got ability to talk to your City Council members. You've got ability to talk to the mayor's office. Anything that's going to happen is going to happen in City Council. So you also have the ability to get to council members as well.
Adam, I'll let you wrap it up.
Yeah, thank you. Our role in this is to provide the information to make a good decision here. So we're going to respond to the questions that come. We're going to help guide the decision makers with information to make sure that ultimately what they move forward with is in the best interest of the citizens of the city of Charleston. So we appreciate the opportunity to assist with this and look forward to continuing the conversation.
All right, Adam Crayson, ZMM Architects, Matt Sutton, Chief of Staff for the Mayor. I appreciate you both being here. Thanks a lot. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you in part by Fresh Air. They'll change those heating and cooling unit air filters for your home, your retail or industrial business, restaurant, or church, or whatever. They can also custom build filters for you. 24-hour emergency services available. Visit freshairfilters.us or call 304-440-1104 for Fresh Air, because everyone deserves fresh air. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses have been creating jobs in West Virginia since 1997.
Buckle up. Adventure will never be the same on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Ready, set, go. Hey, it's Sydney inviting you to the new Thornhill Toyota for our amazing deals during the Toyota National Sales Event. Just imagine you in a new 2024 Toyota Camry, Corolla, or all-new Crown. Or step up with a Toyota SUV like a new 2024 RAV4 or Highlander Gas, where you can enjoy 3.99% financing for 60 months. So many possibilities. Ready, set, go to the new Thornhill Toyota. The Thornhill Motor Mile, US 119 in Chapmanville. Click or come by ThornhillToyotaWV.com and let's go places. Must qualify for all offers through Toyota Financial. Expires April 1st, 2024. Shop Thornhill to get yours.
We need real conservatives in the House of Delegates. We need Mark Carter in District 57.
Hi, I am Mark Carter. As a conservative lawyer, I am a strong supporter of life, faith, and the Second Amendment.
Mark Carter was appointed to national offices by both President Donald Trump and President George W. Bush. Let's elect a new conservative Republican to the House.
I am Mark Carter, and I would appreciate your vote for House of Delegates.
Paid for by Mark Carter for West Virginia.
Whether you're looking for a whole home or under-the-counter solution, Waterboy has you covered. Our military and medical grade systems remove 100% of the forever chemicals while leaving the minerals in. You don't want to jeopardize the health of your family, and with Waterboy's cutting-edge technology, you don't have to. Call Waterboy at 304-395-3465 or visit waterboywv.com to see how affordable it is to give your family safe, healthy water. That's waterboywv.com.
Dwayne Duncan is a Republican running for Kanawha County Commission. We know that we can trust Republican Dwayne Duncan to deliver for Kanawha County families. Dwayne Duncan wants lower taxes, more jobs, and will fight the crime problem in Kanawha County. Dwayne Duncan is a Republican and proven job creator. Taxes are too high for Kanawha County. Let's vote to keep more of our hard-earned money. Let's vote for Republican Dwayne Duncan for Kanawha County Commission. Paid for by Dwayne Duncan for Kanawha County Commission. Tori Takubo, Treasurer.
Our children and families deserve leaders on the Kanawha County Board of Education, and Kate White is a leader that our families can trust. Kate White fights for safer schools for our kids and the best education for our children and teachers in Kanawha County. Kate White is a wife, a mother, and a leader in our community. Kate White understands our families and will deliver a world-class education for all of us. Let's vote for better education and a brighter future in Kanawha County. Let's vote for Kate White for Kanawha County Board of Education. Paid for by the committee to elect Kate White for school board.
I'm loving this. Yes, yes, yes.
3 minutes away from 10, Special Olympics embodies the true spirit of sportsmanship, not merely about winning medals. It's about being a part of a team, practicing and competing together. The joy and fulfillment derived from these experiences are immeasurable as athletes find their confidence and self-worth through the shared pursuit of victory. West Virginia, enriched in collaboration with Huntington, invites you to witness the transformative power of Special Olympics. See a video highlighting the Special Olympics at facebook.com/580WCHS. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by General Hardware of Winfield and Milton and General Lumber of Winfield. Text says, good morning, Dave. Please remind your listeners that the Dunbar Women's Club and the Dunbar Rec Department is holding a City Meet the Candidates this evening at 6:30 at the Dunbar Rec Center. Dunbar has obviously been in the need lately for many lawsuits. I think that was supposed to be in the news. Hope the citizens will come out tonight and meet those running for office. Dunbar needs help, says a texter. Texter says, those guys sound like used car salesmen. Talking about Matt Sutton and Adam Crayson of ZMM Architects. Text says, why did it take so long for Mayor Goodwin and her administration to learn the problems with the municipal auditorium? Well, these problems have been going on, as he said, since the building was built. It's been going on for some time. Text says, nice of you to have this discussion today, but listening to your guests, one can infer the decision is already made to tear down and build new. You can't fight City Hall, says a texter. Texter says, the building sounds like it needs rebuilt. I just hope it's not a glass box construction that can be found everywhere else. Talk about performers wanting a unique venue. What's unique about a building that's architecturally similar to something in Columbus or Cincinnati? This is an opportunity for real unique, not something everyone else is doing already. Dave Allen Show has been brought to you in part by Bridge Valley. For more information on the programs, services offered at Bridge Valley, visit bridgevalley.edu/apprenticeships. All right, gotta go. Thank you so much to Adam Crayson and Matt Sutton, Chief of Staff for the Mayor, and Adam Crayson, of course, from ZMM Architects, and also Don Miller from Read Aloud West Virginia. Coming up on tomorrow's show, Brad McElhenney is going to join us. We're also going to spend some time talking to Stephen Allen Adams about campaign finance. That's always interesting. And Greg Ingram, candidate for House, coming up on the show tomorrow as well. My producer was the A-Train, Anthony Harmon. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow. Hoppy's coming up next. Till next time, have fun and love somebody.
580 WCHS AM, 96.5 FM Charleston, and 104.5 Cross Lanes, a WVRC media station. We're proud to live here too.